The principles of justice, harmony, balance, order, and reciprocity. It is our duty to deliver authentic and unapologetic messages to the world, from politics to economics, education, spiritual roots. This is the Morning of Truth.
Welcome to a new season of the Morning of Truth. I'm your host, Shabaka Mu Ausar.
And I'm your host, Amin Patah. In this episode, our very first launch of this podcast is titled, We Can Breathe. Now, there has been a hashtag, a famous hashtag now says, I can't breathe. Due to, first of all was Eric Garner and then, George Floyd. Well, we want to switch it to We Can Breathe because we're no longer trying to push a deficit model. We want to actually come from a position of strength, a position of power. Doing so, we can breathe, and we're going to continue to breathe as long as God allows us to.
That's right. We can breathe. We got a powerful show about the murder of George Floyd and all the smoke that occurred afterwards and how it's impacting us today. So we got an amazing show.
Yes, absolutely, man. And we're just going to get to it. So I got a question for you, fam. What actually happened on that particular day? What did you observe?
Based on what I observed and based on what I have heard is that the police were called because a store reported that someone had a transaction with a counterfeit money. And the police were called. The police came and they confronted George Floyd.
Right.
And something happened where he was arrested. I don't know if he was read his rights. I don't know if they say why they approached the car or whatever, but he is forced out of the vehicle.
Right.
And then the next thing you know, what I observed was that there was a knee on the neck. That came first. Right. And then there was the pleading for his life, the pleading that it was hurting, the pleading on why you're doing this, and then people gathering. So
him crying for his mom, too.
Him crying for his mom. I didn't even get to that point yet.
Him urinating on himself, all of that.
All of the really barbaric and really inhumane conditions that we saw with our own eyes. And based on that was crazy.
Yeah.
I don't care what he did. Really. He doesn't deserve to meet his demise in that way.
Absolutely.
Completely offensive. So that's what we had. That's what we saw that happen. And I don't see how anybody can see anything other than that.
Right. Now also another question I have for you too is that what was the type of posture the cop had while he was on his knee? He had his hands in his pocket and, you seen his facial expression. Like, can you describe to the world, what did you observe when you saw the cop on top of him?
How it made me feel is very angry, but also showed me the mentality and the animalistic, barbaric nature of our oppressors in America. That face and that posture we can take that back to 400 years ago in Jamestown, Virginia.
Oh yeah.
That face, that posture, that no care for black life. That's what I felt like. I didn't feel intimidated by him. I wanted to drop kick him in his forehead.
Right.
I don't know if I can watch somebody die like that.
Indeed.
And have the face that he had. Like, that will just infuriate me. Like, that's crazy.
Right.
And somebody gets into a scuffle, gunshots go off, or a person runs from the scene and he gets hit. But that kind of murder is the most dangerous, most disgusting thing you can do to someone. To slowly use your body weight to take the life out of somebody over 8 minutes and 46 seconds that's some kind of evil.
Yes, and the world will remember those numbers. 8:46. Those numbers are quite symbolic. at this moment in time. We can get to talking about Dave Chappelle's show later on, in terms of he made a comedy stand up, titled 846.
And I'm really feeling David Chappelle right now.
Yeah.
His platform, it wasn't really a stand up. It was more him just
It's like a monologue.
It's
like a monologue.
A long monologue doing the commentary on himself and how others see entertainers in the industry and his personal opinions that were funny. And I like how he pushes the envelope.
Right.
He has his own platform. Netflix has agreed to let him rock out, and he's doing his thing. And I think that's the power of comedy.
Absolutely.
That there is some comedy or some laughter, but underneath that is some truth that cuts deep.
Right. And the thing about Dave Chappelle, he's probably the most provocative comic of our time. You know, he's like it seems like he's been possessed by Richard Pryor's spirit.
Right.
You know, you look at the things that Richard Pryor did during his time when he was alive, and he mirrors a lot of that in terms of being very provocative and pushing the envelope as it pertains to the conversation of race, so on and so forth.
Right.
And even with the LGBT community, like a lot of folks would not say the things he say.
No, not at all.
In fear, because they're afraid they may get the cancel culture thrown at them.
Right, the backlash.
Right, but this is actually a segue into the next question, you know what I mean? Because Dave Chappelle's comic legend, you know what I mean? What he did, it's going to be legendary. He basically did a legendary stand-up as it pertains to what occurred to George Floyd. But that was a reaction to what he saw in that video after it was posted on social media.
Yeah.
So what did you observe in terms of the reactions from social media after that video was posted?
Yeah, I think that, first of all, I want to say to the listeners that I watched a couple of the police shootings years ago, Trayvon Martin and stuff, like looking at different clips, and so I know that it happened, but I really don't watch them because I get really affected by something like that. It just really gets me upset. So, but I watched it because I'm like, yo, you mean to tell me this dude is actually, he killed this dude like this, like, because it was going on for a long, like 8 minutes, like. Like it was crazy. I'm like, this dude is actually sitting here on this man's neck for this amount of time. I think all of the murders are unfortunate and I'd be affected, but this one really, I knew that, yeah, it's about to go down.
Yeah.
There's no way that people gonna let this slide. This is blatant, it's direct, and it completely got me upset. Like I guess some folks can say that it makes them fear the police. I was not in fear. I'm like, yo, that's a declaration of war. It's going down. That's crazy. You see how he looking. He could have got a 2-piece. Your hands in your pocket, a drop kick in the throat. Like you got your hand, you an open target.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm thinking like, yo, I couldn't watch this man die like that. This dude was gaggling, gurgling for air, and I'm just gonna sit here and watch this? No, this is crazy.
Right.
You killing this man.
And what people didn't see initially was the other cops that was holding them down.
Whoa,
you know,
yeah,
so people know, because you seen, cause initially we just saw one cop with a knee on his neck, but there was another angle of a video that was shot showing the other police officers holding him down with additional weight.
Yeah,
on him.
It's layers to this, my brother.
Yes, it is.
Because the first one, I did not see the other guys on his other parts of the body. When they showed the other angle, another building got to burn. Right. I mean, like, come on, this is crazy.
Right.
Crazy. And you know how social media does. It moves way faster than CNN and Facebook and Twitter, whatever, Instagram. It moved around the world, I think, in probably about 2 or 3 minutes. after it went live, it was shared. It would start moving and moving and moving. And it's almost like in disbelief, like, yo, is this serious? Like, I don't know how others see it around the world, but it's like, I haven't seen anything like it.
Yeah.
Ever on video. What can you think of anything that can make you have those same kind of emotions by watching that?
Yeah, I can actually think of another murder that happened on video when a police officer was he had a man on the ground, and he pulled his gun out and shot him right on the ground, right there. Like, I forgot the brother.
Oscar Grant.
I think that was him
in San Francisco.
Yeah. That right there was savage.
That right there.
You know
also, the brother, Alton Sterling.
I
watched that like a year or two after it happened. Right. That was crazy. But
Walter Scott, I think his name was Walter Scott, the guy that was running away from the police officer.
Oh, and
then he shot him in the back, and then he walked up to him and dropped a taser next to him, like as if like he took his taser from him.
Yep. And then the brother who was at his grandmother's house and he thought he had a cell phone, killed him by her back door.
Right.
We got
so many different situations that we can clearly point out to us, and we also have to think about the things that we didn't see on camera.
Yeah, right. But
there's things like I can like self disclosure. I witnessed the policemen beat my dad in my front yard when I was 9 years old, handcuffed. And prior to that, you learning in school and that the police officers are superheroes. They're there to serve and protect, and they're the ones that you should look up to. And my whole world was flipped upside down when I saw the police beating my dad handcuffed in my front yard in Seneca Manor. So, and since that day, I didn't have any respect for the police because I was lied to quite a bit in school. You hear the stories growing up about the police too, but you don't know until you actually see it. You know what I'm saying? Because you're being told different in school. You got adults telling you to respect police. They're the saviors of the community. They're the protectors. And yeah, come on, man. Nah, not at all. You know what I mean? So when we see what happened just recently and the wave of how it just spread massively across the world, and it created a global protest, right?
Right.
That also came behind the fact that these police officers were not initially charged with anything.
Yeah.
Despite the video showing them, the prosecutor came out and told the world that he didn't see enough evidence to prosecute these officers.
Yeah, but they were fired though. But so somebody saw that, hey, this ain't right. You need to lose your job.
Oh, the mayor did. So let's talk about the mayor. That's another response. That's a big piece in this. The Minneapolis mayor was very, very explicit on race. He did not sugarcoat it. He said a black man was murdered by some racist cops.
Right.
He said, I don't understand why this man is not in jail.
Right.
That man need to be locked up. If it was me, I would be locked up, or anyone else, or any one of you would have been locked up. But he's out here free. Why isn't he locked up?
Right.
I got to give it up to the mayor of Minneapolis, despite what Trump say about him.
Yeah, he definitely took a stance. I didn't know who he was. I just heard the soundbite. I didn't find out till the next day that was the mayor. I said, wow, this is explosive. This is different.
Yes.
Because I never quite heard any mayor, not even black mayors.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Like, come on, like, he like the Eminem of mayorship. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's talking, you know what I mean? Like, okay, this is interesting.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it doesn't, but this, what I'm thinking also is that this is how these police officers are trained. this goes back to why police were created anyway. Mm-hmm. It was always to catch a slave or protect property.
Right. And we can also talk about the freedom papers.
Yep.
You had to have your freedom papers in order to show that you were a free person.
So the black man is the criminal. Mm-hmm. He's the one that you watch. He's the one that commits crime. If you are in a mall, like for example, a friend of mine worked security for Bonton. Shout out my brother Afro Man. He was security there.
Big up.
He said that basically when they train you in to do security for Bonton, they be basically having you watch black people. But most of the people he caught stealing were white people. And he would go after them on purpose. Like, okay, yep, you think you slick? Like, I ain't letting you slide with nothing. Mm-hmm. And they know Afro Man was like a 3rd-degree black belt. He'd putting arm locks on people and, saying detaining them. Because, he's a small guy, but yeah.
But he a beast with them hands.
Yeah. So, as cops, you think they don't get the same kind of training?
Right.
Yeah, they black. Watch them. If they try to run, shoot them. Don't let them get away. Mm-hmm. We can't let them run away. Now, running away is not a threat. You know what I mean? But you shoot to kill. You shoot someone in the back. You shoot them while they running.
Right.
They're not running towards you. They're running away from you. But they're a threat to your safety.
So let's look at that psychologically now, too. Because, number one, the vast majority of police officers are white. Right?
Right.
So there is this myth about black people and us being indestructible, so to speak.
Yeah, can take a lot of pain.
Can take a lot of pain, right? Exactly. We have a higher threshold for pain. We are immediately a threat when they see us because of the myth that's been pushed about how black lives are dangerous. You know what I mean? We're animalistic. We're 3/5 human. We have all these different components that white people have been taught throughout the years about who we are. And the reason why is because they wanted to create a sort of dissonance just to excuse their behaviors for the mistreatment or the inhumanity that they push on us. You know what I'm saying? So this is something that's been happening for hundreds of years as it pertains to black folks. So it's in the DNA of white people to fear us. They predominantly are looking at black folks as something to annihilate if you don't follow the order.
To annihilate, to control, to detain, to check, to verify. Where you coming from? License and registration, please. Where you going? Why are you going there? What do you mean, why am I going home? I'm going home. Mm-hmm. So we're being interrogated and questioned, validated. Are you valid or not?
Right.
And when they pull you over, they document that transaction.
Mm-hmm. We got to keep in mind too, though. Just to give people an understanding of who you're talking to. I'm a mental health professional, and I look at things through a mental health lens sometimes. And as I look at police officers, I have to really make sense of their behaviors and why they do the things they do. Right. So let's look at the stress that comes with being a police officer and being in these stressful situations all the time, every single day. You know what I'm saying? Where you're answering, you're responding to some dangerous things. You know what I mean? You can be in some dangerous situations as a police. And so you're going to be in constant fight, flee, or freeze mode as a police officer because of the things that you're up against every single day. And this is one of the reasons why domestic violence is so high. And households of police officers, they bring a lot of that shit home. Right. And they end up beating their wives and all that other stuff. And that a lot of times goes unreported, undocumented. However, that doesn't dismiss their behaviors, because when they encounter white people,
they know how to act.
They know how to de-escalate things.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it goes back to the myth of black people being an automatic threat just of our presence.
You must be detained. You must be
annihilated,
stopped. you know what I'm saying, neutralized. These are words that the government has used to reference people of color, Black African people, not people, excuse me, African people. You know what I mean? That's why I said it comes with your training. You are trained to control others who are not white and to protect banks and property.
Right.
They will blow you away going into a bank with $100 you got up out of there. Come on, man. You're just gonna blow somebody to smithereens over running into a bank. Like, you know, obviously he wants some money. He need, you know. So this is the training. So for officers who are listening, who are honest about what's the culture of being a police officer, and why is it that Black police officers don't blow white people to smithereens? How Black officers somehow, we have skills, we communicate, we de-escalate, we sometimes diffuse situations and things is cool.
Right.
Could you imagine if that was 4 Black officers on a white man in Minneapolis?
Man, you already know.
And we watch him, and that's why I was saying that this is the most dangerous video I ever saw, more than any of them, because we watched him die over 8 minutes. A slow and torturous, demonic death. That was unbelievable.
Right.
Just blow me away. Just hit me in the head with a slug in the back of my head and get it over with. Don't let me sit here on video for 8 minutes and die over 8 minutes. That is torture.
Let's look at the chain of events. They went from not being charged, DA saying, oh, we don't have enough evidence to charge him, to uprising, all hell breaking loose, burning shit down. The symbolism of that police station being burnt the fuck down in Minneapolis was powerful. It went from all that stuff to him being charged initially with 3rd-degree murder.
Right.
Just him singularly, just being charged, to the other officers charging, saying that they aided the murder.
Aided and abetting.
Yeah, they get charged, and they upgrade it from 3rd degree to 2nd-degree murder.
Right.
So now you got a 2nd-degree murder charge and a 3rd-degree murder charge, and you got the world screaming justice for George Floyd. So looking at George Floyd himself, he wasn't doing anything extraordinary in the world. You know, like he wasn't out there making a lot of noise for the community and so on and so forth. Like, he wasn't doing big things. However, his death made him a martyr. It's very symbolic. That name George Floyd is going to be something that people's going to remember for the rest of their lives in a long time after we are dead and gone.
Yeah, the brother, they called him the Gentle Giant. They said that he, had a big stature. He knew that his size sometimes intimidated people, so he didn't want to impose himself on people because people automatically had a fear of him as a Black man. And a lot of mothers who have sons who are really big for their age, they have that fear. If you got a 12-year-old, your 12-year-old is like 6'3" or 6 feet at 12, and he's big and kind of muscular, someone may think he's a grown man.
Right.
And try to detain him or whatever, and out of fear, he's trying to fight back. Like, I'm a kid. What are you doing? And then something goes bad. So they used our height and our color as a justification to control us or be wary of them. They could hurt you. And it's possible that we can bust you upside the head, guaranteed. But we don't deserve to be killed in the street like that.
Exactly. And you even got people still getting killed in the street. Like, just recently, somebody's got killed in front of Wendy's in Atlanta. And they burnt the Wendy's down.
They burnt it down to the ground. And the officer, the guy, they say he fell asleep in the drive-through, and they called the police. Probably Wendy's called the police. They come, they get into a confrontation with him. They couldn't get him down. He out-wrestled them, and he got their taser and tried to run. I guess he pointed it back towards them, and they just unloaded. He had a taser.
Right.
and you're trained to take a taser.
Exactly.
In order for you to use it, you have to get shocked with it. I saw a whole video about it. Everyone who carries a taser has to be struck with it. So you can see how it feels to be struck with it. So you ain't gonna die.
Right.
And guess what? How far he really gonna get? His car is there. You know who it is.
Right.
Get him another day. Is it that? So you got to stop him right now. He's gonna get away. You're gonna murder him from running away from you.
Right.
Let him run.
It's the same song and dance, my brother.
So the people at a time like this, they should, okay, officers, y'all not gonna get it, huh? There's a lot of fires burning in America. Because I don't think the energy not going nowhere. You can't go around shooting and killing black men right now. Something about to burn.
Oh yeah, right now there's a paradigm shift occurring.
Yeah.
Because, and that's why I want to get to it initially when we get further into the show. I do want to talk about the cosmic shift that's occurring. Because a lot of this energy is cosmic. This stuff was bound to happen. Because, yeah, history is cyclic. And we eventually comes back around to these events that create changes or ripples in the universe.
Right.
That pushes forth other stuff that's bound to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think 2012 was the beginning of that paradigm shift, and now we're about 8 years into that, and yeah, it's about right.
And you're looking at
it's gonna continue
right
to push that way.
The year 2020 is the year of the master builder. So looking at the cosmic aspect of it, and looking at the energy of Ogun. Ogun is very much prevalent right now, and what's happening. Even looking at COVID and how the area of COVID where it attacks the respiratory system, right? Which is the area where the heart chakra resides at. And who governs the heart? Ogun. That's Ogun's organ. So not to get too deep into that, but yeah, there is a lot of conversation that we can have around that at some other time. Yeah. We do have to keep it moving though, because we've been on this segment for a minute, and it's time for us to shift gears. You know, so in terms of that, so the insurrection that happened in Minneapolis, that's what really sparked it all. We started talking about it a little bit in terms of the protests and so on and so forth, but Minneapolis set the world on fire, literally, just by what happened in Minneapolis. And next thing you know, you started seeing these insurrections happening in other cities.
Yep, like it was like a chain reaction. I think everyone was immediately angry, disgusted, and needed some way to release that. And we know that we have to make some noise. Like that right there was, well, first it was weird because the first images I saw was that plaza where Target was. I think it kind of started there on that block where Target was, or some convenience stores. They just went ham in that one area, and then it moved across the city and then to other cities. And I think St. Paul is like right next door to Twin City, they call it, whatever. They started wilding over there. So, and then next thing you know, they in New York, they in Atlanta, they in LA, everybody started jumping on board. Right. And all we heard was the looting. Right. It was about looting. Look at them. But then you seen pictures of white folks taking stuff and they making excuses. Oh, maybe they were hungry. And so that was weird, but we already know why that's the case. Yeah. But the question is why? Why? And I think that just to have some voice or some sense of power, people loot. They do it when they win championships. Right. When the school when University of Pittsburgh or somebody wins the championship, they turn over cars and burn up stuff and break windows. Yeah. It happens.
Right.
So we know there's something about when you have people who are over excited, or either in a good way or a bad way, it can lead to violence.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially in America. It's a strange place. Like, it's not like it's regular all around the world. But in this country, on this soil, which was started by the destruction of the Native Americans, I don't want to call them Indians, the people, the Africans that was here before they got here.
Yep, the original, it being the indigenous folks of this
Indigenous
space.
Better word.
Yes.
That were here. And I think when we have these insurrections, these uprisings, it's always centered around the condition of the people.
Right.
If people were good, we wouldn't have to burn and protest in that way.
Exactly.
We'd probably be straight assassinate people at that point. We wouldn't have to burn. We just have infrareds and AK-47s and all type of devices.
So I want to really bring that point home, because this is the issue that I have with the response to the rioting and the looting and so on and so forth. You have a lot of people that are in leadership positions calling these folks opportunistic. They're saying they're opportunists.
They don't care about the protests of
Yeah.
George. You're ruining the name of
Exactly.
George.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? You're ruining. This is not for George.
And they're trying to push for peaceful protest, because they know the bottom line is this: you're not gonna have any change. We done peacefully protested for years upon years upon years, and we would not be having the swift changes occurring right now if it wasn't for the rioting, the looting, and the so on and so forth. And on top of that, white folks are very slick at siloing things. They're very slick at making things individualized. So you want to put a protest in its own category. You want to put riot in its own category. You want to put looting in its own category. You want to have them all separate and fragment them.
Yeah, look what
No.
they're doing.
No.
What about George?
They're all part of the same process. You're not going to slick talk us, and no. And we have to look at the fact that these folks, if they're opportunistic for a reason. If a lot of folks that are opportunistic are taking the opportunity to get some free shit that they can't afford. If you keep dangling a carrot in somebody's face and say, ha, you can't eat this, what the fuck you think is gonna happen?
And even when you try to go, when you do got the money, you get stared down and walked around the store. So go into Gucci and Louis and go buy something. Okay, my African Americans, you're burning your own. Yeah, go walk into Gucci right now if they open. Go walk in there.
Right.
Just look around.
Right.
Oprah got handled overseas. They know she was Oprah. She walked to a store and they followed her around and harassed her. Yeah, so even Oprah
Right.
was profiled.
Seriously. So
She's a billionaire.
So let's look at this on a historical level. You have 1865. The Emancipation Proclamation. Well, it's actually 1863, but
Yeah, but they 2 years later,
2 years later, then
people didn't even know what was going
right,
down.
exactly. Yeah, Juneteenth. June 19th, 1865. That's when folks in Texas finally realized that
They were free.
they're
Supposedly free. Yeah.
Right. So you have that, right? But then it comes after that is convict leasing, slavery under a new name. You have Reconstruction. You have the creation of KKK,
Mm-hmm.
Jim Crow,
Jim Crow.
housing segregation, redlining,
Housing,
exclusionary zoning or racial
Restaurants.
zoning,
swimming pools,
right,
water fountains.
water fountains, all of this stuff. You have all these things, and then you have the new Jim Crow with the prison industrial complex. I really call a human trafficking scheme,
Parole and probation.
parole and probation, all these different things you want to look at up to this point where we are right now. And now you're calling people opportunistic when they have an opportunity to get some shit that been suppressed from them for so long.
Yep.
Come on now.
So why are you doing that? You're burning down. You're destroying your own neighborhood.
It's not my neighborhood because I don't own shit in the goddamn neighborhood to begin with. I'm renting an apartment. I don't own that shit.
But even if you own it, do you really own it?
And I really don't own it either because guess what? Even if I do buy the house, I still got to pay taxes on the shit. And if I don't pay taxes on it, guess what? The house gets taken away from me.
They can take your house. The county can take your house.
So it's not really
The
mine.
city can take your house. Did you pay your taxes today? I could buy a house for $100 million cash. If I don't pay taxes, no bueno.
Right.
You got to go.
Exactly. So of course, people are opportunistic for a reason. You cannot be throwing that word around. You're being insensitive. And then you also have, you know, the situation where leadership are chastising the people that are looting and rioting.
Because it makes white folks feel uncomfortable. We can't make them feel uncomfortable to go to Target.
Right.
Matter of fact, I went to Target today to get my niece. I got a little niece coming. I'm a great uncle. But anyway, I walk into Target today, and there was a police on a horse in Henrietta, just standing in front of Target on a horse. I'm like, this is weird. Like, is he gonna gallop on top of somebody's car or something? But I don't know. But it was a cop there, you know, white man on a horse protecting Target. Police were used to protect property, human property, real estate.
Right. So let's look at that. So fact check. The very first commodity that was sold on the stock market was black bodies. Wall Street exists because of black bodies. We were the first people, or the first piece of property, quote unquote, to be sold on the stock market.
But war, do we have short-term memory? To all my white listeners out here, this is basic. You can like Google this too. Like on the More and the Truth, some of our stuff is very provocative and we're very direct what we're saying, but it's all backed up in scholarship.
Yes, it is.
We're not just emotional, just yapping at the mouth. Just put the history of slavery in Wall Street and hit search in Google. Like I tell my students, there's no excuse for you to be ignorant or not know something when you have a phone or a computer. There's no excuse for it.
Talk about it.
And if you have a problem with that, then maybe we can do a debate on the More and the Truth. You bring in your scholars, you bring us, you know what I'm saying? So y'all want to go there. We already know y'all run from that. Right. So, but it's a fact.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's something I was thinking yesterday, real quick. And I want listeners to listen very carefully. It's nothing really complex I'm about to say, but it's the truth. Without the African presence in America, we would not have the America that people are enjoying today. The white supremacists, all the executives and all of the people, professionals, the doctors, the lawyers, the psychologists, all these people in America, without the African, you will have no America. And we as Africans need to understand that we are the power source. We are the blood and the energy source, the life source of this country. But we're trotted on as we're nothing. And people who are ignorant don't know that statement.
Right.
We can back it up. We can back it up. Without our ingenuity and our patents, we wouldn't have lights and traffic lights and open heart surgery and blood transfusions and smartphones, and the list goes on.
And you know what the second most profitable export that we have coming out of America?
I don't.
It's hip hop.
I do know. It has always been even when it comes to even on the Royce allegory tape, Eminem said that. Like,
right,
it's obvious that every music form that was so-called
we created it.
We created it.
We created every like you could just think of any music genre.
Anyone. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Well, classical music is classical. Well, what is classical? Is classical something that came from Europe? What about the Dogon? What about South Africa?
Exactly.
We had
That's where it came from.
That's the classical music.
classical
The whole
music.
idea of the piano. Our piano was upright, and they turned it down flat and put keys on it because they couldn't have the fingers to move across it. So we created the music life force of so-called American music.
Right.
From so-called traditional classic to blues, jazz, rock and roll, rhythm and blues, and everything in between.
Right.
But hip hop right now has more impact on the world than any other music form in the history of the planet.
Right. And it was created in the late 60s, going in the early 70s in the Bronx. So we also want to look at, in regards to these protests, how Black Lives Matter impacted the protests.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
And let's look at the face of Black Lives Matter movement in these protests. Is predominantly white faces. So you got these cities being turned up and burnt down. You got white folks dressed in all black, standing on top of cars that's vandalized with their fist up like they're black, and they're spray painting walls with BLM.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And death to white supremacy or whatever they're doing. They spray paint all that stuff on there. And the good thing about us as black folks, we had these cameras. We smart enough to pull our cameras out and record them with our cell phones. And we're like, look, and this person right here, this is not a black person spray painting Black Lives Matter on this building.
Right.
You know, and you also get, people were just snatching folks up right and left and giving them to the police officers. And this is the thing about it, though. These agent provocateurs, a lot of them are police officers.
I read about this stuff, and I've actually talked to Black Panthers, you know, when I was younger at the University of Buffalo. Shout out UB, Black Student Union in the building. But anyway, whenever there is some kind of upheaval, uprising, insurrection, riot, whatever you want to call it, the first thing the government do is send agents into the crowd.
Yes, they do.
And all you got to do in 2020 is wear all black and have an all Black Lives Matter face mask, and you're in the game.
Right.
No one's going to question anything. Exactly. And if you're black, you're really good. You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh. But they're listening. And what they want to do is have a reason to use force. So these agent provocateurs, they the one that light the match and they break the car windows first. They're always the one that's running out. Oh my God, he just crashed the window.
Right.
I learned Black Panthers always said that. Whoever's barking and acting crazy, those are the agents. Knock them out.
Right. And we seen that here in Rochester when people turned up. As a matter of fact, Villa was the first spot to get hit. Right. And I was looking at the footage of people, from the people that was shooting down there with their phones, and I noticed a white dude running out of Villa with an alien hat. He had an alien mask on, like a big green head over his head, and running down the street with a whole bunch of shit. I'm like, yo. I'm like, hold up now. What do white folks need out of the Villa? And you could clearly see what they were doing, man. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, of course. You got people in the hood from our hoods. They're gonna
rolling up.
They're gonna roll up. They're gonna get whatever they need to get out of there, because guess what? They can. You have folks jumping out the car, going into the Villa, right in the car, right in the middle of the street, snatching shit out of the Villa, running back to the car, dumping it in, and running back in and getting more shit. And you know what I'm saying? Yo, I totally get it. I understand it. I understand why people are going to do the things they're doing. Being in poverty. Look at Rochester, the second worst place for black people to live in the country. That's a statistic. And
really in our city, but Billy Bob works at Walmart. He's a manager.
right. And it is, for mid-sized cities, arguably top of the list when it comes to poverty, childhood poverty specifically. So if children are in poverty, the parents are in poverty.
Right.
So therefore, this is the issue we did. If you got this type of shit happening, you got these statistics occurring, and the needle is not shifting. People are not really getting pulled out of their living conditions that they've been suffering from for years upon years upon years upon years.
Mm-hmm.
When the opportunity comes for people to get free shit, they're gonna seize it. They're gonna seize it. Period. So of course, now if you had, you know what I'm saying, if you had a situation where people were all getting that bag or being provided the opportunity to get that bag, then we wouldn't be having this. I can guarantee you wouldn't have a fraction of the people down there looting like that. People wouldn't been doing that shit because they would have been invested in it.
Yeah, like, yo, that's my homeboy store.
Right.
Matter of fact, we gonna board it up and protect it because this is our, yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? But what I want to say for those listening from Rochester, the reason why we're the third or fourth or fifth poorest city for young people is because of the large gap of wealth.
Mm-hmm.
From the highest salaries to the lowest, that margin is so wide.
Yes.
That's why we were able to be placed so high on that list. The disparities of wealth are despicable.
Yes, it is.
And I remember when I was taking macroeconomics at the University of Buffalo in like 92, and we studied Rochester. Macroeconomics is the study of business internationally. Big thing, the macro, the big. And Rochester, we talked about Rochester for a whole class. It's an hour and 20-minute class. I had no idea how much money this city was making at the time.
Mm-hmm.
More millionaires per square mile. We exported more products overseas than any other city per capita in the country. We sold more Rolex watches per capita than any other. I'm like, Rochester? That's when my first education to realize that this city got a lot of money.
Yeah, it does.
A lot of old money.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the things that we enjoy around the world was started here.
Yes.
From the fax machine to Windows to the mouse to film to, we can go on and on and on and on.
Kodak, filming, all of that. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at that, stark disparity between black wealth and white wealth here, right? You got the wealth gap. That is crazy. It's like they have a 250-year head start on us when it comes to wealth. And then you look at the income gap. So average household in the black community is making less than $29,000 a year. Average household. Average household for white families are making around an average of $65,000 a year. You see how huge that gap is? They make more than double the amount that we're making annually.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's not even counting the wealth gap. The wealth gap is even more astronomical. You know, so, and on a national average, ours is way higher than the national average. It's even worse. Like what's happening in Rochester is quite similar to what's happening in Boston. Boston wealth gap is crazy too. It's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? So we have a huge problem right here, and you cannot chastise the same people that's rioting and looting by saying, "Oh, we have over 750 arrest warrants out there. Don't think you're gonna get away with it."
Don't think you're gonna get away. We have cameras. If you see these people, we're going to arrest them. Chalk it up as a loss.
Exactly, man. Come on now.
It's a wash.
Yes.
It's a wash.
Because what you're going to end up doing, you're going to create more tension in the community due to the fact that people were protesting primarily because of police brutality. So who's going to perform these search warrants? The same people that people were protesting. So why you want to keep fanning the flames? Of course, yeah, people did do some things that was destructive. That was part of the process, though. If that didn't occur, we would not be having these conversations right now as it pertains to racism, structural racism, blah, blah, blah. Granted that this city was already talking about that. We had race initiatives in place. So I'm not going to take that out of the conversation or make it seem like that talks wasn't being had. However, the responses, I'm talking about in terms of racism itself and us trying to eradicate it, the way we're talking about it now, it's because of what happened as a response to George Floyd. Not peaceful protesting. Ain't no such thing as a peaceful protest. That's nothing but a photo op and loud talking. That's all that is.
That's all that is. Could you imagine if nothing got burned? Those cops would still be out of jail.
They would still be out of jail because the DA, he did not have any motivation or intent to arrest those police officers
until the third precinct was on fire.
Yeah, exactly. Until shit started getting burnt down. Until people started stealing shit and all kind of other stuff that occurred, and you wanted that civil unrest to stop. And of course, in order for it to stop, you gotta arrest these goddamn officers, and you gotta charge them, and you better convict them, because if you don't, people gonna burn shit up again. Let's believe it.
Oh yeah. So they know what they gotta do. And they said that their boy Chauvin, he was trying to do a plea before he got arrested. He knew he was done.
Yeah, you knew he was done.
He was trying to.
I'm hearing he's on suicide watch now.
Well, that's a collateral damage. Because that dude got me so pissed off. I have no empathy for you. And maybe that's too hardcore. But man, that's how it's. Man, listen, that's how it got to be.
I do want to point one thing out before we actually go into the song of the week.
The song of the week.
Black Lives Matter is not a black-led movement.
What do you mean by that? It's black lives who are dying every day by the hands of police.
Because you have to follow the money. Let's look at the donation, which is not really a donation. It's an investment. George Soros is a multi-billionaire. He's out of the UK. And he donates $100 million to Black Lives Matter. Let's really look at that critically. If someone out the kindness of their heart, especially a billionaire, because
a racist
billionaire, attack at that, because $100 million is 10% of $1 billion. So you're gonna donate 10% of $1 billion to a movement and not have any inclination of wanting a return of your investment? That's an investment. It's not a donation.
I care about the Africans. I don't want them to die in the streets. I'm going to give money so they can be free, just like me. We can all share the wealth together.
Right. Get the fuck out of here. Come on, man.
We're going to share the wealth together. I'm Soros. I care about Black Lives Matter. What do you mean? I'm an old, decrepit white man, but I really care about these African Americans. These people of colors. They're colorful people.
Colorful people. They're colored people. Yeah, but come on, man. Like, for real talk. Ain't no way in hell somebody's going to just give up $100 million and not expect a return on that.
I think that Black Lives Matter, but I don't prescribe to blacklivesmatter.com. I've never been on the website. I have no idea what it is. I don't know what they're talking about, but I do know that our lives do matter. African lives matter. Black lives matter, and we cannot tolerate this anymore. We must use all our weaponry. And beating somebody up or burning down a building is just one aspect of that. We have to use our spiritual power, our mental power, our financial power. We got to buy black. We got to shut people down who don't support us. We want people to put their position on the table before we move forward. What's your position on this?
Right.
Before I take out this loan, before I get this credit card, before I buy this house, before I buy anything from you, where's this wood coming from?
Exactly.
Where did this come from? Why is this? Who giving back what? Everything's under investigation.
Right. And it's the bottom line, man. I am with you. Black lives do matter, but I'm not with that movement. Do not affiliate me with that movement, because I am all about Africanism.
Empowerment.
I'm about African worldview. So in terms of that movement, we have to be very careful of what we sign on to. Like, I went to the Black Lives Matter website, and I want to read. Matter of fact, let me read to you guys what it says on the website, just so you can see what I'm talking about.
The website is blacklivesmatter.com. As a matter of fact, underneath the video, we'll put a link in the description.
Right. And I want folks to really just pay attention to the language that's in here on this thing, right? So
where are you reading from?
I'm actually reading from let me see.
Is it an about tab?
Yes.
So our listeners can know. We'll put the link in the description.
Yes, I'm trying to actually get to the actual belief aspect of it. All right, so I want to read some stuff on here. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you will read in the beginning of it.
It's under about.
It's under about
Black Lives Matter. About Black Lives Matter.
What we believe. So
what we believe. Okay.
Yeah. So this is under what we believe, right? And I want to point to something in particular. And the reason why I want to point this out is because I don't see anything about masculinity in here. Like, this is the type of conversation that is had to eliminate masculinity. Like masculinity, to be masculine is a problem. So that's why the term like toxic masculinity and and so on and so forth. But what they're trying to push up on here is more so a rainbow agenda than anything else. And let me read you some stuff right here. I'm going to go past all the fluff and then get into how they are honing in on specific things when it comes to this site. We are guided by the fact that all Black lives matter, regardless of actual or perceived sexual identity, gender expression, economic status, ability, disability, religious beliefs or disbeliefs, immigration status, or location. We make space for transgender brothers and sisters to participate and lead. We are self-reflexive and do the work required to dismantle cisgender privilege and uplift Black trans folk, especially Black trans women, who continue to be disproportionately impacted by trans antagonistic violence. We build a space that affirms Black women is free from sexism, misogyny, and environments in which men are centered. We practice empathy. We engage comrades with the intent to learn about and connect with their context. We make our spaces family friendly and enable parents to fully participate with their children. We dismantle the patriarchal practice that requires mothers to work double shifts so they can mother in private, even as they participate in public justice work. We disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families in villages that collectively care for one another, especially our children, to the degree that mothers, parents, and children are comfortable. We foster a queer affirming network. When we gather, we do so with the intention of freeing ourselves from the tight grip of heteronormative thinking, or rather the belief that all in the world are heterosexual, unless he or she or they disclose otherwise. So I'm gonna stop there. Where in this do you hear anything about a man's presence, about men being present? And
men already have the power. Men have the power. Mm-hmm. So we're going to fight against all of the testosterone that's around in the world.
Yo, this is really the whole mission behind Black Lives Matter is a rainbow agenda. And it's also to try to pull the power from men to begin with. Now,
and also what I want to say, what it also is, just like this Antifa and these other dirt bags, don't be jumping on our movement. Get off our backs. Mm-hmm. Everyone has always used our struggle in this damn country to ride our wave. Get your own wave.
Word.
If you got a rainbow agenda, don't use Black people to push that agenda, you dirt bag. Use your own agenda. If you want to burn police cars and break windows, do it now. Do it on your own time.
Right.
Everybody has always used our movement to ride the wave. Make your own wave.
Exactly.
Start your own movement.
Right.
Y'all wait till we get it popping. Now you want to come jump on here and have an ulterior motive behind the agenda. Get your own agenda. Be original.
Right.
I'm from the hip hop generation. That's biting. Get your own style. Get your own wave.
Right. Come on now. And that's just real talk, man. Because we cannot be. Oh man, bruh. I'm just sick of it. I'm so tired of folks using us as pawns, man. And as black folks, we gotta be smarter than just jumping on something. Let's stop jumping on bandwagons. If you see something occurring in your community, don't just jump. Like, make your own thing happen. You know what I mean? Like, this is the issue I had with what happened with these protests. A lot of black folks saw white folks doing something, so they copycat. They started doing, as a matter of fact, there were videos of a white man that was hollering at these young black boys, and they were like, yeah, go get some tables and go do this and da-da-da-da-da. He was
passing cash off. Yeah, I
seen that. Yeah, man. Come on, bro. Like, just to get people all wound up. Folks is already stressed out to begin with. Folks are already marginalized and disenfranchised. And that's going to bring toxic stress, a continuous toxic stress that's being produced day in and day out.
You got that white battery in your back.
Right.
You got a white guy saying, yeah, let's do it for freedom.
Right.
Black lives matter. Uplift the Africans, man. Here, get this Molotov cocktail and burn the fucking building down. For some of us Negroes, when a white man says something, that white ice is colder. The white man told me he's with me. He has a mask on. He's busting windows out and looting up in Target.
Word.
Let's do it too.
Exactly.
Let's go. Let's go. John Brown is back.
Hilarious, yo.
John Brown is back. Stop trying to ride our wave.
Damn, yo.
Get your own wave. Get your own wave.
Word, yo.
Get your own wave.
Seriously.
John Brown. Nah, he was definitely down, but he used our wave too.
Right.
And Douglas stayed home. Thank God he did. They had put bullets in old Douglas, but our ancestor, he made his next move his best move.
Right.
But yeah, start riding our wave. Antifa, the anarchists. You guys, you could have did what you wanted to do. Where y'all was at?
Right.
Matter of fact, I ain't never seen y'all do nothing. Where y'all come from?
Exactly.
Where you come from? Y'all could have went to DC last year. Why did you go last year and start busting cop car windows out? Because they would have bust your head.
Right.
That wait till you get your goon, you get a real army. Now you get tough.
Exactly.
But this shows you the mentality of white people. Don't try to get infused in our movement and squeeze yourself in our movement, you coward.
Word, man.
If you want to burn down police stations and turn over cars, you could have did that last week, last month. You could have did that.
Exactly.
Get
Yo,
out of
man,
here.
let's segue into this song of the week. And this is a close brother of ours.
Stigalo
Swag Mode. One of the dopest MCs I've ever known in my lifetime. You know, me and him have quite a bit of material that we've recorded together. But this piece right here is very classic. It's called 9. And
the 9.
We gonna let it rock. You know what I'm saying?
The 9. Shout out Stig.
Shout out to Stigalo Swag Mode.
You can find Stigs on Facebook at S.
And when he's done with this, track, once we done playing this track, right? I'm gonna spit my 9 verse that was supposed to be on the track, just so we could bring it all together. But yeah, Stigalo Swag Mode, 9 Ether, and we'll be right back to you. As a matter of fact, there's gonna be a time frame when he's gonna be a guest on the show too. So
most definitely, shout out Stigs 9.
Let's go.
Frequency. It's a frequency.
Yeah. Stigalo, aka Stigalo Swag Mode. EP Enterprise. Rap Entertainment, Manny Green, I see you. brethren. Blue. Shams sincere, black dot. Kokai double.
Special.
My mind's straight. 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 Had to buck 'em down with my 9mm. My mind's straight. My mind's straight. My mind's straight. My number 9 straight. My mind's straight. My 9 straight. Had to buck 'em down with my 9mm. Fine, if we gon' grind, let's grind. I'm 9 tenths, 9 dimes, 10 cents, 9 times. If 10 cent times 9's 90% in dimes, then I'm fighting against the 10% controlling your mind. Yeah, I'm fighting against the 9 to 5, controlling your time. Fighting crime, fighting the Pope and 9, patrolling our kind. That's a 9. Asking for mine, you must be asking for 9. As for mine, no, that's a sign, can pass a 6 for a 9. That's a 6, no, that's a 9. You see the shape and design, it's the same, but the value changes if you flip it one time. I'll explain. The value changes if you flip it one time with the exact shape and design. You call a 6 or a 9. 69. The cancer sign is yin. You ain't redefined. Out of 10, I'm at a 9. I'm 66, better 9. Okay, 999 and plus to a key. A 999 plus a buck from a G. Right angle, 90 degrees for like the 90s to me. 89 and the 93, we gon' gas it and try to beat. See the circle ringing and she's current coil. For energy, current coil. For DNA, a 9 volt in the battery. 9 lives, 9 pilots divide. Take a square with 4 sides with 9 boxes inside. Let's call it tic-tac-toe. X and O's, no actual lead. 3 months for 30 days, be a 90-day guarantee. A state of emergency, in a state of emergency. 911, a 911, no denying the urgency currently. For currency, some music, 9 to pay rent. Keep it 100, like $99.99. 9 cents, dressed to the 9 in my size 9 shoes. On my wave, like a 1980s breakdance move. On my grind, dressed to the 9 in my size 9 shoes. On my wave, like a 1980s breakdance dude. No, my mind's straight. My 9's straight. My mind's straight. My 9's straight. My mind's straight. My 9's straight. Had to buck 'em down with my 9mm. My mind's straight. My 9's straight. My mind's straight. My number 9 straight. My mind's straight. My 9's straight. Had to buck 'em down with my 9mm. Wa-da-da dang, wa-da-da-da dang, 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 wa-da-da dang, wa-da-da-da dang.
So special.
Yes. Stick a little swag mode. Spitting that fire, man. Spitting that fire, man.
Yes. Shout out to Stiggs, Small Star, your Big Dipper,
That's right.
Frequency Records,
Yes.
9. Project
Yes.
dropping soon too. The project dropping soon, man.
Yes,
Shout out.
indeed. 6 + 6 + 6 = 18. 1 + 8 = 9. Solidified carbon being 93 million miles away. Natural sunscreen. 666 flip 999. See it in all scenes. Perfect storms. For example, you can see 9s when wind and water intertwine and make a hurricane eye. Look in the center eye pupil. You can see 9 as a tornado forms funnels. The spiral is 9. 9 months, birth amen, wrapped in the skin of the divine. See the signs of the times. I write this rhyme on the 9th line. My enzymes travel with my DNA strand, back and forth to the sun 9 times and never land. I stand fly geometrically when 9-sided nonagon symmetry, carbon chemistry. The history of alchemy is multiplied like 9 times infinity. The never-ending helical, the cycle of energy, 9 antiquity. 9, baby.
The 9s.
Yes.
The 9s. The mysterious 9.
Yes.
The 9 ether.
It's everywhere.
The spiral.
Yes.
The spiral that spins.
Absolutely. That coil. Getting right back to it. The current state of affairs, we already touched on the 4 officers being charged. And of course, we all know that a charge does not equate to conviction.
Conviction. Right.
It does not equate to the maximum sentence that you have to receive for the conviction once you get sentenced. We just recently saw Amber Geiger shoot a man in his apartment, unarmed, while he was eating ice cream. And before she got sentenced, she received a hug from the judge and a hug from the brother, the slain man's brother, saying that he forgives her and so on and so forth because of various reasons. And we talked about this in the Afri Symposium. We use that as an example of how we were trained during the times of enslavement, 3 different things from Christianity. That was obey your master, turn the other cheek, and love your enemy. So, anyways, not to go on a tangent, 4 officers were charged, but we've seen many times in the past officers get off scot-free. They murder someone in cold blood and nothing happens to them. They get paid leave. So basically they get a paid vacation away from their stressful jobs. Full pay too, not just a fraction of the amount that they get. The full amount of money. Mm-hmm. So you get vacation time for killing someone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And
so
you have the state, you have the city, the county, and the state protecting you.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the district attorney, these prosecutors, these judges, they all working together.
Right.
And they have these telephone conversations, deciding which way they're gonna go. And then you have money involved in who you know. See, America is a business. And you have to be in the business relationship circle to have benefits and concessions. And so that's why certain people get off on charges. But overall, the system is anti-African.
Yes.
Period.
Absolutely.
And any judge who's listening or anybody who's listening, you have to be honest about the history. Y'all can get on camera and be all diplomatic and say, oh no, it's fairness. We don't feel that way. We're looking at history, man. History is the best teacher. You're dealing with intelligent Africans right now.
Right.
We don't got no time for your foolishness.
Exactly.
We can clearly see that this system in America is racist specifically to the African American.
Mm-hmm.
And you have been doing this since you brought us over here 465 years ago. And nothing has changed.
Nothing.
And that's why you can have a barbaric officer do what he did, being recorded and didn't care. That's why you can have a district attorney, prosecutor, whoever, who say he didn't see anything in the video that warrants a charge. And that's why you can see judges manipulating jurors to say, oh, he had to have a shadow of a doubt that he wanted to kill him. If any doubt is in there, you must acquit.
Right.
So now you're fixing the whole game up so that these officers walk away from their crimes.
Exactly. We all know, we all recognize how this is. And I'm tired of people saying that the system's broken. It's not broken.
It's working.
It's working. It's doing exactly what it's designed to do.
Yeah,
So-
it looks great on paper, but we pull a switch.
Yes,
Now,
period.
if you look at the laws and look at the paperwork, it looks like it came down from white Jesus.
Right.
It came from white Jesus. It's perfectly in the Bible type of paper. Look at the Constitution. All men are equal. Oh my God, you get a fair and impartial jury. You're not, yeah, right.
Right. We see through action what time it is.
Like I said,
period. And we just need to. The thing about it is that we have a powerful paradigm shift occurring. Enough is enough. The universe sees that as enough, and spirit is holding us down in that regard. Yeah. So these savage police officers, it's about time for them to really get what they deserve. We're tired of all the police brutality, the police terrorism. I'm not even gonna call it brutality. I'm gonna call it what it is. It's terrorism.
It's terrorism. They're terrorists, And we need to start calling things for what they are. Even some so-called African Americans, we're justifying this and trying to be politically correct and act like we don't see it. If it walk like a dog and bark like a dog and smell like a dog, it's a dog.
Exactly.
And we need to have our young people be illustrators and orators to vividly describe this thing that we call life in America.
Right.
We need to pull out a big reflective mirror and let people see what it really is.
Exactly.
Take that pill and see what the real world looks like, because the whole world is seeing how America is not really that powerful.
Right.
Or smart or intelligent. And when I say America, I'm talking about white America.
Thanks to social media.
Yeah, right.
Yo, we have to really give props. And as a matter of fact, a black person created the internet. That is a black invention. However,
What do you mean?
we don't get credit for it.
What do you mean? Are you telling me a black man really did that in the iPhone too?
Yes, not even
Yeah.
that. Your security cameras, the way your security system is set up, that was a black invention. Come on, we could just keep going on and on and on and on about how we paved the way in many instances. You know. Anyways, man. Yeah, we have another conversation that needs to be tied to this, man. Like the companies right now all of a sudden want to start putting money up.
The NFL, we are against rape. We should have known that you guys could be able to protest, so we're going to do something.
Yeah, the NFL commissioner finally came out and admitted, and this was like shortly after the wave of protests happened, and now out of fear, this is what's happening.
Protect my investment.
Yes, we have over 70, and he said it. He said over 70% of football players are black people, or he said people of color. But come on, the majority of the NFL players are black.
Right.
They're your investment. You got to protect your investment. So of course, yeah. Now is the time for you to denounce that shit. Before, when it was initially happening, it was disrespecting the flag, deflection. You're deflecting what was the original intent of Colin Kaepernick kneeling.
Because you got young Africans who are standing up, who are not afraid. Mm-hmm. We are afraid of white people. Black folks listening, stop being afraid of white people. Stop being afraid of them not liking you.
White folks are more afraid of us than we are of them, to be honest.
To a degree. One of the reasons why we in this condition right now is because we have an underlying fear. Mm-hmm. It's like that action thing. We talk a good game,
right?
But when it come down to it, we scared of white people.
Yeah,
because if we wasn't, we wouldn't be in this position. Somebody would have took a gun and blew that dude head off. And
it goes right back to what I said earlier about what was taught to us through Christianity and slavery.
Right.
Those three main things is what creates the fear. Love your master. Obey your master. Love your enemy and turn the other cheek.
Right.
Those three things right there is what generates the situation. It's psychological fear more than anything else.
Yeah, afraid of being excluded. Like these players right now, NFL players, or if you're a listener and your family member plays for the NFL, they have all the power right now.
Right.
They can make ludicrous demands if they came together, and they will have to negotiate. We're not playing. We're not kicking the ball. We're not catching the ball. We're not bouncing the ball. We want some equity or it's over.
Imagine a mass exodus of every single black body here in America migrating, repatriating back to Africa. Every last one of us.
I want to do a movie about it.
If that was to occur, bruh, this system will literally go bankrupt. Like this country will collapse.
We don't need you guys. You guys can go back to Africa. Yeah, right.
Right.
If we left here,
all the talent is coming. Like the swag, everything is gone.
If we left tomorrow, Monday, June 15th, if we left tomorrow, I give you guys about 90 days. you're done. Might be faster than that.
Might be
but
faster than that. It's gonna collapse.
3 months.
It's gonna collapse.
Because this is another thing too, folks who are listening. We are consumers, Africans. Mm-hmm. Every brand in America uses the African for the bottom line.
Yes.
When it comes to alcohol, cigarettes, cars, clothes, technology,
jewelry,
we are feeding the system.
Hair,
we are
lashes,
feeding the
makeup,
system.
all kind of shit. To the point that it's so bad, fam, that you got women out here. And I love my bro. I love my sisters out here. I love my black women out here. But I have to really touch on this, man. You have a lot of black mothers out here that is taking portions of their money to get their body redone, to get their body done. So they go and get this fat removal or fat replacement, and get their stomach tucked in. They get their ass made and all this different stuff, and they spending like 5 stacks on that shit, and basically taking money out of your kids' mouths to get your body done because you have these self-esteem issues. You know what I'm saying?
And you want validation, but now it's disgusting because it's like, you know, it's unfortunate that this is what it's come to. But all this mentality is because of you living in America.
Right.
Ain't nothing African. Ain't nothing. We opened the body up before white people was even thought about.
Talk about Hotep, baby.
We could have been putting fat in
Hotep
and doing cosmetic surgery if that's part of our. But we are proud of who we are.
That's not who we are. We are following. We are black bodies with white. A lot of us have black bodies with white minds, and we follow what white people do. White folks were originally getting that shit done to their bodies
under the knife.
They started that shit. You following the white trend.
Yeah, I want to get
get your body done and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? And come on, man. Like, I'm not. Granted, it's your body. You could do what you want to do with it. You know what I'm saying? It is your body. So nobody has the right to say what you can and cannot do with your own physique. However, I can be critical. I can point out the fact that the majority of our women that doing that shit have self-esteem issues. And it's because of the beauty standards of America, and also we also got to take some of the blame too, brothers. Black men got to take some of the blame too because of the body shaming. A lot of us do body shame women and shit, and they feel that they're not beautiful or whatever the case may be. So they do these things in order to receive the attention that they feel they want, that another woman that has a body like that naturally get. They want that same attention.
But now you can't tell because people who have natural bodies, people think that's fake too. So you can't even distinguish what's real, what's fake. But sometimes you can. Okay, the thighs look real thin. They got little chicken legs, you know, like a marshmallow with toothpicks in it. And it don't look and it don't look real. Like, this is not right. Like, your hip structure and your legs don't even look proportionate.
He said toothpicks inside the marshmallow. I'm seeing that shit. I see 2 toothpicks inside 2 marshmallows.
I'm just saying. Sometimes it looks, but sometimes you can't tell.
Right.
So some folks who really do have the voluptuous body, still people think that they had an operation. So what it does is everybody's under speculation right now. And anytime you see something that's curvaceous or curvy, your first thought, oh, she went and got some work. You're not thinking like, oh man, she got a nice body. She got some nice body. No, the first thing that comes across your mind, you second guess it. You're like, man, let me see if that. Well, I don't know. And sometimes you can't tell. So it has destroyed the game.
Right.
We don't know what's real, what's fake right now.
Word up.
Because some of that work is really good. Like, some girls get it and they don't get crazy with it. Mm-hmm. They just got a nice little shape. And you're like, wow, that's nice. Because they could have went and got the big super size one. Yeah. They got the mini marshmallow. Right. The mini marshmallow on toothpicks. They ain't get the oversized marshmallow.
And then you got folks, you got some woman that does it very, very smart. Like, I know of a woman that actually got her body done, and because she already had thick ass legs and shit, her legs was already thick. Her ass blends in well with the legs. So if you don't know,
that's what I'm saying. So some people get that work,
yeah, exactly,
or not, and you really can't tell. So it really has changed the game.
Yeah, it did. However, all I'm gonna say is this: love yourself, man. Love what God gave you. You know, because yeah, granted, we are living in a society that has beauty standards and shit. And the you know, the expectations behind the beauty standards, it pushes people to do shit that can be detrimental to their lives. Some people have died on them tables getting their bodies redone.
Yeah, it's because of the values and the morals and self-perception and the media and society that is conjured up by this toxic culture.
Yes.
Talk about toxic masculinity, toxic American culture.
Exactly. And honestly, real talk, yo, I love the fact that you just said that, because we need to replace these terms like toxic masculinity to toxic behavior, because you have toxic femininity too. You have women out here that are toxic. However, we don't have a term toxic femininity being tossed around this motherfucker. Because a human being that's acting toxic is a human being that's acting toxic. Women out here do fuck shit too, just like men do. But we need to be very careful on how we're using these terms, because they can be divisive. The term toxic masculinity is very divisive. As a matter of fact,
when you say that word, when you say toxic masculinity, what image comes to your mind?
Typically a black man. You know why? Because that's how you're programmed and designed to think about a toxic man. A toxic masculinity, the face of that is a black body, black man's face.
Yeah, so that's what I want to say. So that's mediated message. Like they have an intention, and they put that energy out there, and we just regurgitate it back. Right. And again, not doing our own research. Stop mimicking people and do some research and get a real position. This don't take anything. For me, ever since COVID struck, for me, for Shabaka, everything is under investigation. Right. Everything that we thought we knew has to be redefined. We have to redefine everything. Even the word race, even the word African. I mean, everything needs to be reevaluated, redefined. We may find out that it keeps the same definition. Okay, we can agree on that. That still means the same thing. But other words and terms and concepts need to be redefined and redesigned.
And as a matter of fact, black men and black women out here that are using the term toxic masculinity, please know that term was developed by a group of white men called the mythopoetic movement. They created that term back in the 80s. Period. And you don't even know it. Just like all these other terms that people are using and signing on to movements and shit that are white movements, like LGBT. That is a white movement. And there's a whole bunch of racism spewed all into that shit.
Yeah, racism, you can't escape that from anything. Racism is so embedded into the DNA of this country. Right. There's no way to escape it. It crossed every line. No matter what organization, what group, what gender, class, preference, identification, race is embedded in that. Word. And I think it's so sad that America, because we always knew it though. This is not going to happen because white people just feel like they want to give us justice and freedom and equality and equity. No, we're going to have to put some pressure on them. Some blood going to have to be spilled. Some businesses got to burn
to the ground.
Not just burn physically, but burn far as we pull our money out.
Right.
Like I'm trying to buy black as much as possible. As much as possible, I'm trying to support black business. As long as I feel that the service or product that I'm getting is of a respectable quality and I feel good about making a transaction.
Right.
So for black businesses, we have to redefine and reevaluate what does it mean for us to do business in our community. We got to tighten up, folks.
Yes.
Even me, I'm not picking at anybody. Even my company's Uchat Vision Media Movement, I'm redefining and redesigning that too, with the intention of building community, building equity, investing back into the community, and tightening my stuff up too. Everybody got to tighten up. Everyone tighten up. If you're a business owner, you listening, I know there's something you can do to better your business, especially when it comes to quality of the product or service and customer service.
Right. Exactly. So
tighten up.
We all have to make sure that, and when it comes to that, we got to look at our interpersonal communication and how we view each other, how we value each other. You know, interpersonal communication, them soft skills goes a long way. And without the development, because these are actual skills. It's like, this is some shit that needs to be developed. You have to work on this. And it's not something that just you work on and like, oh, I got it. Nah, you got to continuously work on that shit, because as time changes, we evolve with the time.
The language
You know what I'm saying?
change,
All of
phonetics
that.
change,
Yes.
perspectives change, budgets change, circumstances change. I'm just saying we all have to tighten up. There's no business out there doing 100% good business. You're
Right.
not.
Right.
Not even Verizon, none of these corporations who got these billions of dollars. They're some of the most notorious dirt bags. But we're talking about African people right now. We have to tighten up on all levels. Everything has to be reevaluated and restructured and redesigned. How you raise your family, the contracts you got, the commitments you are about to make, examine them. You know, because at this stage of the game, it's also about what you know and who you know too.
Right.
So we just have to tighten up.
It's more so who knows you too. It's who you know and who knows you, because those connections, those relationships, that's gonna get you a long way.
Right.
We cannot do this shit alone. We are not islands. We are not silos. You may try to be, but guess what? When you do that, you are operating alien to who you are culturally, to your cultural thrust, your survival thrust. We are a collective people. And just like your body, just like your immune system, if every single cell inside your body was to start acting independent of each other, then guess what? You get sick and you die, because your body is acting alien to who it is. And that's the same thing to us as human beings. If we were to literally start acting independent of each other instead of working as a collective, we will fucking not go anywhere. We won't go anywhere. That's why in the African concept of Ubuntu, Ubuntu means I am because we are.
I am because we are.
I cannot be the person I am if it wasn't for the things that Shabaka poured into me. And Shabaka can't be the person he is right now if it wasn't for the things I poured into him. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Jabbar and the network. The whole network of us that deals with each other we become the great men we are because of who we deal with. And the fuck shit that we do comes from each other too. You know what I'm saying? So,
and that's why I'm just saying we have to tighten up.
right.
Everything must be reevaluated, restructured, redesigned, and taught.
Reconstruction. We have to deconstruct, reconstruct, and construct.
Definitely.
Bottom line.
Because it is a paradigm shift. And we can't go into this new phase, this new realm, using language and terms and concepts that don't fit with the paradigm shift.
Right.
We want to be in line with that shift so we can elevate.
That's right.
Let's move on to this next section.
Yes,
The painting-
yes.
We had the mayor of Washington D.C. In response to some of the climate in D.C. gave artists the permission to paint Black Lives Matter, leading right in front of the White House, and got a lot of media coverage of that artwork, and it felt good. It felt empowering that even as Donald Trump opposed the protesters, he wanted to bring the military in to get order. He was threatening and belittling mayors across the country, saying if you don't get it together, I'm going to send the military in there to do the job right. He had the military and the National Guard in Washington, D.C. He shoots tear gas and clears the way so that they can do a photo op in front of the church. So the mayor of D.C. commissioned artists to paint Black Lives Matter on the street. She renames it Black Lives Matter Parkway or Street, not sure which one. And that image went around the world. So much so that it inspired our local mayor, Mayor Lovely Warren, commissioned my brother Sean to paint Black Lives Matter on Court Street, right near the MLK Park. And it's blue. And that was all over social media for the last couple days. And we had a chance to look at comments and people reaction on that. And me and my co-host, we talked about it. And I get it. We need to ride the wave of this Black Lives Matter thing. We should use the colors of blue because our logo is blue and white, and that's our color for the city. So we're going to fall in line with DC. We all were inspired. So now we're going to push forward with painting our streets with Black Lives Matter. And I think it's cool, but it's like those senators and legislators wearing a kente cloth for a photo op. It's cool to commission this thing called Black Lives Matter. But what about the tangibles? What does it mean to put a message out? What's the call to action? What's the action items? What are some of the things that's going to be implemented? Because painting something on the street, that's why we have crosswalks. Those are white with lines where cars can direct traffic. How is that paint on the ground transform into tangible things that the people can benefit from?
I do want to point something out, though, about our particular Black Lives Matter being painted on the street and the color it's painted in. I understand that our city colors are blue and white. I understand that. This particular moment in time when people are protesting police terrorism, I don't think it's the right time to paint a Black Lives Matter on the street the color blue.
Color does have meaning.
It does. It has a lot. It has a lot of meaning. As a matter of fact, people immediately go to police. Like people minds go to police when they see blue because of the term Blue Lives Matter. Let's really break this shit down. Let's get it. Let's talk it. Let's dig deep into this right now. I'm a psychologist, so I understand the power of imagery and how colors can have an impact on people's mind and psyche and where their mind will go to. A lot of folks were outraged of the fact that paint was blue because of the affiliation with the police. So you're gonna see Blue Lives Matter. It's like Blue Lives Matter is painting over Black Lives Matter. And when you look at our city and how liberal people try to satisfy everyone, you know what I'm saying, in terms of, you know, like the inclusivity shit of it. You know,
Let's include everyone.
yeah, so you're gonna have the Black Lives Matter being painted in, oh yes, the city's colors. Nah, fuck that. Yo, if you really want to make a statement,
There was a heart with a black fist in it too. I didn't notice that the other day. I saw that.
yeah, I seen that.
It's a heart with a policy
seen
of
that.
people.
I seen that. No. If you really want to make a motherfucking statement, paint black red, paint lives black, paint matter green. RBG. And I'm saying that because those are the colors that we typically affiliate with the black struggle. You can go back to Marcus Garvey's days with the UNIA movement, the Pan-African flag, and how those colors were adopted from African countries all over Africa to create their flags. A lot of flags in Africa use red, black, and green as their colors after the Pan-African flag. You know what I'm saying? Even Kenya's app. You go like Kenya. All these colors, and like, it's because these colors are affiliated with the black experience. Blue is more so affiliated with the police experience.
But we can't make it red, black, and green. Then we'll be excluding people. I want everybody to feel comfortable with the colors.
This is about black lives, right? If we're talking about black
We have
lives,
to include everyone. What do you mean? We can't leave anyone out. Make anyone feel uncomfortable. That wouldn't be the right thing to do.
right?
No, we're going to scare them away. They're not going to like us anymore. Fights over for cheesecake and tea.
Well, guess what? Stop cooning. Stop cooning. Stop out here being out of this new Negro-peeing blood. Get rid of the cracker out of your head. Kick the cracker out your mind.
We're going to scare them. My neighbor is a nice person.
Kick the cracker out your head, man. Real talk. Come on, black folks. Let's get it together, yo. Let's be real. Understand about trying to be inclusive and yeah. All right.
But I play golf with Steve.
Now just keep in mind, these are my opinions. I have my opinions and I can share them. Just like others may disagree with me. I disagree with the color being blue of Black Lives Matter in the street. I don't like that color because of the affiliation with the police. You know what I'm saying? If you really want to make a statement and you really want this to be about black lives, then so be it. Make it about black lives.
We must include everyone. We can't say no. We're gonna make them get real. They're gonna get angry at us. We don't want to get them angry because they can do something to us. We can lose our job, or we can be ostracized for that.
Right.
And I just got me a new mortgage, and I got a new car, and my kids are in college. So I'm in Patah. I understand what you're saying, but my kid is in college, and I would not. I'm not gonna jeopardize my kid's future for your red, black, and green, buddy. It's gonna be blue, like the white man's blood. Blue. We're gonna. Yeah, man.
Oh man.
But more importantly, okay, red, black, and green, blue, whatever. Like I said, what are the tangibles?
Right.
We can't do stuff for photo ops.
Right.
For photo ops and for charades and parades. Where are the tangibles?
Right.
You can't satisfy me by painting Black Lives Matter on the street.
Right.
It doesn't impress me. Now, what really impressed me, if there was blood on the streets, it was painted in blood, Black Lives Matter, then, you know, that's something different.
Oh,
now
man.
we got a blood sacrifice.
That's a lot of blood, boy. That's a whole lot of blood right there, boy.
So I'm just saying though, but in all honesty, we have to have tangible things, real contracts, real policies, and we We gotta wrap this show up too, my brother.
Yeah, we do, man.
'Cause this is our first time back. This is our new season.
We are at 111 minutes right now, my brother. So we have to
wrap this thing up. We have to wrap it up. But I do want to encourage you to visit our new website, morningoftruth.com. Make sure you visit our social media sites, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Morning the Truth. Our personal email pages are also on the website. If you have questions or comments, you can visit the website and put your comments or email us.
Yes.
In the contact page of the website.
Absolutely.
So where do we go from here?
Yeah, where do we go from here? What's your final thoughts on this, my
My
brother?
final thoughts is this. After all the things that happened, as I said before, we are the tangibles. And also have a rallying cry for our Democratic elected officials who have always known our struggles of Africans living in this country. The white ones too. Lip service and photo ops are cool, but that trick would have worked 50 years ago. In 2019, you can't satisfy us or keep us docile by having photo ops and kente cloths and painting Black Lives Matter on streets. We got black folks doing this too. We have to make a commitment to put this system under pressure, to have no fear to say that what we're doing is for Black lives that matter. Biden, I'm riding. We have to understand that politics is business and business is politics. We're educated in this country as African Americans to think that politics is something that's about the people. But when you follow the money, you know politics is business and business is politics.
That's right.
We have to understand the game that's being played. The so-called African American has been playing chess when the game is checkers. They use things like feel-good messages and deceptive media things to corral you into a circle, to make you docile, to make you a punk. We have to understand that this is about business. So Black Lives Matter, all these so-called leaders who are protesting, all you Democratic candidates, elected officials, let's see the contracts. Whether Biden is president or Trump is president, if we don't have any tangibles or contracts, what the hell does it matter? What's the difference? So what? Obama was the president. What have we got?
Not a
no
damn thing.
tangibles for black people. So for this movement, for these officers, for the justice system, we need contracts, we need commitments, we need tangibles that benefit exclusively African people.
Ashe.
That's my final thoughts.
And I second all that shit, man. You know, so I want to say this. Let's pay attention to this cosmic shift that's occurring. And recognize that shit is just not happening because of happenstance. A lot of the shit that's occurring is intentional. As we move closer to liberation and freedom, true liberation and freedom, it's going to be very painful in the first, second, and third part of the process. It's going to be a very powerful storm that's going to hit our lives in every angle. And we're going to have to be ready for the onslaught that's coming behind this shit. However, we need to get our hearts aligned. I was saying earlier that Ogun energy is very much prevalent in our space at this moment in time. That is real. I'm not saying that just to be wordsmithing or none of that. No, this is some real shit. And if you don't get your spirit aligned with where it needs to be, you're going to be left behind. You're going to get burnt out with the ashes that's being left with these racist ass crackers. So with that being said, when I said the cosmic shift is occurring, you need to get your mind right too, not just with your heart. You need to kick the cracker out of your mind and the cracker out of your heart. You have to change your behaviors. You have to stop moving with purpose. You have to recognize that you can't do this shit alone. That you have to be part of a collective consciousness. That your health need to be in place. This COVID-19 shit was the spark of everything that's happening now. I'm pretty much sure that when we're talking about George Floyd and even the concept of we can breathe, a lot of this stuff wouldn't have happened if we weren't in our homes. I'm talking about the attention that this death has received in light of COVID-19. So COVID-19, it forced us to be still. It forced us to calm down and just observe our own selves and observe the world. With that occurring, it created an opportunity to put a huge lens on police terrorism, on racism as a terroristic threat in general inside the United States. It's now being recognized. I'm talking about racism itself. It's now being recognized as a public health crisis. And this shit been prevalent for so long. That's why we got all these health disparities to begin with. Because of the prevalence of racism. And now, with this situation with George Floyd, the martyr that sparked a revolution, a global revolution, we need to ride that energy and pay attention to the shift that's happening on a cosmic level. Because just like us as human beings have rituals, the cosmos have rituals too. And we are nothing but ants in comparison to what's happening outside of the dome that we are living in. And so let's get it in, man. Let's make sure that we look at each other as value, that we love each other and appreciate each other for who we are, and let's grow. And with that being said, those are my last thoughts, man.
Thanks for listening to The Morning the Truth. I want you to tell others about our show. You can visit our website at morningthetruth.com to listen to our podcasts and to read our blogs. And also on the website, we're going to have resources, books, and videos to reference based on the material that we discussed on the show.
Absolutely.
Also, our social media sites on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we'll see you guys next week, next show.
Ashe.
Ashe, my brother.
Ashe, my brother.
Ashe.
Odabo.
Odabo. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Mo, 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 mo.